Dear friend, and to whom it may concern, and to the one who needs to hear it, and to the one who's heard it 16 times, and to the one who doesn't think they need it, and to absolutely everyone else. To my friends, to my family, to my chavruta, and to you, dear friend. Dear friend, feeling any better since the last time we spoke? 'Cause you really were distressed and I hate seeing you like that. But I mean, I get it. They're putting an insane amount of pressure on you, and it's really hard to live up to those expectations. Yesterday you told me you weren't ready to be in charge, to do all the things they thought you were capable of, to be a leader. 'Cause it was too hard, too much pressure, responsibility, stress. And I told you, well, I told you leadership was important. That you should jump at the chance to be a leader. Because the world needs leaders and you wouldn't just be a good one, but a great one. And I still agree with everything I said, 100%. But then I got to thinking about it, and well, I think I overlooked one tiny little thing. And here it is. Leadership isn't easy. Actually, leadership is hard. And hardship sucks. Leadership is just sometimes one big, sucky burden. I mean, just look at the third Mishnah in chapter 5 of Brachot. Ha'omer al kav tzipor yagia rachamecha, ve'al tov yazaker shmecha, modim modim mishatkinoto. The Mishnah is talking about someone who's reciting the Shmoneh Esrei and then decides to add their own supplications into the prayer. Now, normally this is encouraged, and it happened all the time. People just sort of added whatever prayers and things that they wanted into the structure of prayer that was already in place. But the Mishnah illuminates to us that sometimes when people added things into their supplications, they said things that weren't so kosher. For example, one of the blessings in the Shmoneh Esrei begins with the word modin, we give thanks. Says the Mishnah, you might be tempted to say it twice, modin, modin. But, says the Mishnah, the addition of the word modin, saying it twice, kind of implies that there's more than one God that we're saying thanks to. And implying that there's more than one God is, well, heresy. And Judaism ain't so big on heresy. Says the Mishnah, whenever someone makes a mistake like this, he must immediately be silenced. Be silenced? I mean, that's kind of odd. Don't people, pray silently? And here's where the Mishnah gets really interesting. The time when the Mishnah was written was not exactly a time where every man and woman knew how to pray and could do so fluently. I mean, think about it. There was no printing press, no mass distribution, and not everybody had the time and learnedness to sit and learn the prayers. And so praying meant not personal prayer exactly, but following along with the shaliach tzibur, the prayer leader. So when the Mishnah says he is silenced, maybe who he's really talking about is the shaliach tzibur, the one who's praying on behalf of the congregation. And this way of reading it goes along really well with the second half of the Mishnah. Ha'over lifnei hateva v'ta'ah, ya'avor acher tachtav, v'lo yehesarvan b'oto sha'ah. If he, the shaliach tzibur, went before the ark, the Aron HaKodesh where the Torah is, and made a mistake, another shall take his place. He may not decline at such a time. Geez, let me get this straight. As soon as the shaliach tzibur makes a mistake, another shall take his place, no questions asked. That's crazy. That's insane. I mean, I get it. Prayer's important. You might say something heretical. You're representing the whole congregation. But man, oh man, would I not want to be a shaliach tzibur. Because you'd have to be super careful and constantly checking what you're doing. I mean, I think it would just totally suck. Which brings me back to you, dear friend. I want to apologize for implying that your struggles were petty and that you should just kind of suck it up and get over it. Because like the shaliach tzibur in the Mishnah, responsibility is harder than it looks. But on the flip side, if every shaliach tzibur in Mishnaic times refused to pray because they were afraid of the responsibility, then nobody would be praying. There would be nobody to represent the prayers of the congregation. So I think what the Mishnah is telling us is that we can't just neglect leadership because we're afraid of the responsibilities. And yet we have to acknowledge that leadership is hard and kind of sucky sometimes. And so, dear friend, that's all I really have to say on the subject. In the end, you're right. Leadership is scary. But sometimes you gotta do what's scary. Anyway, I really hope you're feeling better. And I really do think you'll make a great leader in your community. Take care and smile. Sincerely yours, Ilana Schilling.